the basic definition of matter is anything that has mass and occupies some space. So whenever we take a particular thing, it has some mass, we can feel it. Okay, we can feel the mass of that particular object, and when we keep it somewhere, it occupies some space, it needs some space. When we keep anywhere we keep it, it needs some space. So this is the basic definition of matter. So matter is anything that has mass and occupies some space. Now, there were many different people, the chemists who worked in this field of chemistry. They have spent many different, many days of hard work in actually describing the matter, measuring it, and even changing its form. Now, you know that basically the matter is made up of different forms of matter, you know, liquids, solids, liquids, and gaseous form. But we can transform these forms, okay, from solid to liquid, liquid to gaseous, again from gases to liquid, and liquid to solid. Or some substances can be turned from solid directly to a gaseous state. Okay, so how was this seen? That is because of the hard work. These chemists, they have spent a lot of days in working with matter, understanding it, describing it by the different experiments, and measuring it, and even they have the form changing, like from one form to another. Like we can transform a solid to liquid, a liquid is transformed to gaseous form. So these people, the people who are working in the field of chemistry, we call them as chemists, they have spent many days of hard work in describing, measuring, and even changing the forms of matter. Okay, now what is the basic thing which a matter is made up of? Now the living things, if you go, even we are matter. Okay, even we human beings, any living thing can be also called as matter. So what is the basic basic unit with which we are made? So when we go to the living forms which are surrounding us, so these living forms are made up of very minute particles, and the most simple form of us is the cell. Okay, so all the living forms on the earth are made up of the basic unit which is called as a cell, and cell is called as the structural and functional unit of all the living forms. It may be a plants, it may be animals. All of these living forms are made up of the simple basic structure which is called as the cell. Now, when we go to the non-living forms, okay, even they are made up of matter, as we have discussed before. So even these non-living forms which are surrounding us or which are around us, they are also made up of matter, and these non-living forms are made up of minute particles which are called as the atoms. So even the atom, which is the simplest or the basic unit of all the non-living forms, is having mass, it has size. Okay, so all the matter on earth, whatever it may be, a living thing or it may be a non-living thing, it is made up of a simple indivisible unit. Like for living, we call that indivisible unit as the cell. And if you go for the non-living forms, that indivisible unit of matter is called as the atom. Okay, which has its own size, it has its mass, okay, it has its radius. So that is what the matter is made up of. Now, as we have already discussed, it is existing in several different phases or states. We can say matter has many different states or phases. The main basic three states or phases of matter are solid, liquid, and gaseous state. Now, how have we categorized them? That depends upon the arrangement of these individual units. How are they arranged? Like if we go for the solid phase, what do? We have the atoms which are very tightly packed, very close to each other. So all the matter or all the objects which have the atoms very tightly or closely packed, we categorize them into solids. Then the second form is the liquid form, wherein the atoms are not as tightly packed as in solid. There is some space between the atoms and they are scattered, or they are a little bit far away from each other. That is the state which is called as a liquid. And the third state is the gaseous state or the gaseous phase, in which we have these atoms which are very far away from each other. Okay. So that is how we can actually categorize, or we can have the divisions in the several states of matter, that is solid state, liquid, and the gaseous state. Okay.